You're jumping up and down and you're going, go, 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 go. Hey, I'm Dan Foulds.
And I'm Brandon Bain.
This is Rubbin' and Grubbin'. Rubbin' is racing.
Grubbin' is tasting.
NASCAR news. Hey, look, there's no race this week. There's no race till Daytona in NASCAR, but that don't mean that
There's not racing.
That don't mean that we can't talk about stuff.
That's right.
There's a ton of news. We are 83 days away from the green flag dropping for the Daytona 500.
Not that long at all, man. It's not that long.
83 days. When you're my age, 83 days is nothing.
That's it.
Hall of Fame announcer Ken Squire is battling COVID-19. So let's keep Mr. Squire in our prayers.
Yeah.
He's an 85-year-old legend, and he was NASCAR's main lap-by-lap commentator from 1979 to 1997.
Yeah.
If you look at any classic race replay on YouTube, Ken Squire is there. What a voice.
Probably one of the best to ever do it as far as that position goes. I mean, like you said, I mean, that was a staple from the 70s all the way through pretty much up to the heyday, you know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, amazing job he's done. So, prayers and best of wishes with him as always. Hopefully kicks this thing in the ass and keeps it moving,
on.
man.
Yeah, you can do it. He coined the term the Great American Race. He also co-founded the MRN Motor Racing Network. Get well, sir. We are thinking about you.
Yep, definitely.
Prayers also out to veteran NASCAR driver Morgan Shepherd. Shepherd, who is 79 years young, has been diagnosed with early-stage Parkinson's disease. Shepherd has driven in at least one of NASCAR's 3 series for 50 years straight before this season. Holy crow.
Yeah, it's pretty long streak there, man. I remember being a kid and him definitely making a field at quite a few Atlanta races I've been to. So, yeah, he'd love to drive, obviously.
NASCAR is not happy with the performance of the next-gen car on ovals. Major tweaks ahead.
Well, that's good.
I've watched it. I mean, it sounds good. It goes good.
The thing is, looking good and sounding good with 1 or 2 cars out there is completely different to the way it races when there's 40 or 38. So let's make sure we get it right. You got a whole nother year, obviously. We talked about it saying 2021. It's actually 2022 when that's going to come out, so they got a whole nother year to get it right.
Right.
Make sure it's right. That's all I ask. Just make sure it's right. Really good racing. That's all we're asking for, man.
So, how often do they get a new car? Every 5 or 6 years?
It seems like in the recent, it's been a lot more often than some that I remember being a kid. Now, I think there's some things that are going to change every year as they progress through learning things through the car. With the amount of technology and engineers that you have working in this sport, if you give these guys these guidelines with this car and these are the guidelines you have to fit, and you give them year 1, all right, year 2, we're going to be going 2-3 mile an hour faster, a lot better performance. Year 3, we're going to be going 2-3 mile an hour faster, a lot better performance.
Right.
So they change it up on them to keep them regulated because these are some of the brightest minds when it comes to motorsports, aerodynamics, just all kinds of different sciences. And that's what these major teams pay big bucks for. It's not just the guy that sits in the car and drives. It's the people at the shop that build these things and put the time in, the engineering that goes into it, the trial and error. So it all depends, usually about every 3 to 4 years, somewhere in that range, 2 to 4 years. This one, like I said, I really hope that they kind of put it in, maybe change the rules a little bit, but put it in and keep it in effect for 4 to 5, because I think what comes along with the faster speeds and the things that these engineers are able to do is better racing. You saw it. I mean, for example, 9 wins for Kevin Harvick and 7 or 8 for Denny Hamlin this year. That's almost half the schedule between 2 drivers.
Right.
I mean, and it was a weird year, right? I mean, it was COVID-19 year, racing double headers and doing this and racing different places Wednesday night. Totally different year, but at the end of the day, that's still almost double-digit wins for one team. So what that tells me is, he dominated, and you go back and look what he dominated. He dominated a few different styles of tracks, but he was still a dominant car. So when you run that for 4 or 5 years, you allow the pack to kind of start where there's maybe 3, 4, 5 guys, and then the next year there's 7, 8, 9 guys, and then the next year there's 12, 13 guys.
Yeah.
So it makes that up front, racing better. Now, that's not to say that Kevin Harvick's not going to come out and just dominate again. That's a possibility, but at least past that position, there's still some really good racing on the track. And I really hope they just let it ride, and like I said, maybe play with some tire compounds, maybe play with some other things at some tracks. I mean, I think the format they have for the races, the stages, is amazing.
Right.
I think the playoffs is amazing. The only thing, as I've said before and we've talked about, I wish they would do for the playoffs, 5 staple races. That means you're going to race those 5 races at those tracks every year.
Right.
And then 5 that are a lottery, like at the awards banquet. You know, so you still have time to set that schedule. You still have months to make all the logistics work.
Yeah.
But, you know, you pull 5 and go, hey, 2021 was these 5. And now 2022, we're going to do, you know, we're pulling, you know, whatever out of however they come up with the voting system, fans or you know, races or whatever it may be.
Right.
Put those tracks in there, draw those tracks, make those 5 different every year, kind of swap it up. I know it's really kind of hard to do, but if you do it, you know, time before, the off season before, I think it's a great thing for NASCAR. I enjoy the fact it's at Phoenix. I didn't think I would really enjoy that too much, but it's not much different than it was at Miami, other than the fact Miami, it's multi-groove and you see guys just throw it out everywhere.
Yeah.
Phoenix is the restart. You know, on that restart, it goes woof.
Yeah.
I mean, you have, you know, however many yards of pavement to use.
Yeah.
So, and you still saw the cream of the crop rise to the top like they do every time. It wasn't like, you know, Hamlin struggled or Logano struggled or Keselowski struggled or Elliott struggled. Nobody struggled. They all ran they ran the best race they possibly can. They were all right there in position.
Yes.
Just unfortunately, he showed up.
The cream of the crop rose to the top.
He showed up. So
there you go. So I just was thinking while you're talking. So the car of tomorrow is the car of yesterday.
Correct.
And what are we on? We're on 6 now, generation 6?
Yeah, this is Gen 6, I think, or Gen 7. So
it's been a long time since NASCAR's been
7,
a stock
right?
car.
Gen 7?
Yeah. Used to be strictly stock. You
Yeah.
know?
No.
But that's good. So Matt Tifft and BJ McLeod have bought a racing charter for the 2021 season. They are forming Live Fast Motorsports and will drive the number 78 car. And they have entered a strategic partnership with Stewart-Haas Racing.
Well,
Speaking-
that's a beneficial thing right there. That's something you got to look at, right?
Yep.
So what that tells me is Stewart-Haas has 3 main vehicles.
Right.
You have the 4, the 10, and the 14, right?
Yep.
Briscoe, Armarola, and you have Kevin Harvick, obviously. What that tells me is by giving an SHR alliance saying, hey, we're going to provide you with motors, we'll, you know, swap some info, get some data. What that tells me is this car they're running is going to be things that the main, you know, SHR wants to try. They want to try this. Let's see how this works. Let's try this new.
Test bed.
Correct. At
There
the
you
same
go.
time, it's a win-win. These are guys that are underfunded. They're getting some of the good, great equipment. You know what I mean? You're getting some secrets. You're not going to get the best, but you're going to get something that's solid, and it's beneficial. That's a win-win.
So that's the number 78, and the team name is going to be Live Fast Motorsports, not Go Fast Motorsports. Live Fast, and they're partnered up with Stewart-Haas. Speaking of Stewart-Haas, Ford put the brakes on Kyle Larson joining Tony Stewart's Rolex 24 at Daytona team. Big. What's up with that?
Chevy man. That's a Chevy man. Look, man. Look. That's a Chevy man.
Yep.
You're not going to get and drive a Ford.
That ain't going.
Now, had they decided to go after him instead of Chase Briscoe, hey, he'd be in the car, but he's not. So,
In other Tony Stewart related news, the Truck Series will not run at Eldora Speedway in 2021. However, Tony Stewart's new racing league, Superstar Racing Experience, will race there this July.
yeah, I think that's kind of a bummer for me, man. I mean, you honestly, the trucks almost are fit for that, man. I mean, honestly, they are. It's like it's a lower horsepower, big bodied, you know, framed car. And man, that's such an exciting race to really see a lot of these kids whose backgrounds are on dirt and have that, you know, truck race where it's like, all right, if I'm good on dirt, I'm going to be better than a lot of folks in this race.
Yes.
And kind of get taken away. And I think Tony does a great job at Eldora. I mean, they do some great things out there, great racetrack. So it's kind of a bummer. I mean, we'll have to see. And I'm very, very interested in seeing Stewart and Evernham and all this stuff come together with the lineup they have. A lot of classic drivers. A lot of big names from a lot of different types of driving.
Right.
So very interested to see how that's going to go down and what it's going to do. I'm ready for it, man.
Kyle Busch Motorsports announced yesterday that John Hunter Nemechek, Joe Nemechek's son, will run full-time in the Truck Series for 2021. John Hunter was looking for a ride after Front Row Motorsports announced that he would not return to the number 38 Cup Series car in 2021. I read about this today. I did some background on this. John Hunter was not happy with not winning.
No, I believe it.
He was in a mid-pack car, right?
Yeah, well,
he wanted
I
to be a winner.
I would say more of a C than a B. Like,
okay.
I would say maybe a B- at best, but the man drove the car really well this year. He had quite a few pretty good runs. Some of them didn't work out. Kind of the Bubba Wallace syndrome. You know, you're in position, you just can't quite finish it. Mm-hmm. But he drove the car up there in mediocre equipment, so that tells me great talent. Kyle Busch obviously is a very good reader of great talent. He has some really good drivers in his stable that do his thing.
He's successful.
So he knows talent when he sees it. I think that's a great pickup. I think that's a guy that's going to run a top-tier truck team, because let's be honest, it doesn't really matter. That truck is always up front, especially when Kyle Busch gets in it. But if he's not, it's always up front. Now you got a guy that's got experience driving Cup going back down. I definitely think that's going to be very successful. Yeah,
you and I have actually talked about this earlier this year. At some point, we talked about, would it be better for a guy who's doing so-so in the Cup to go back and dominate, And by the way, I love the trucks. I wish the trucks got more coverage. I think truck racing is spectacular. Hopefully he'll go down there and he will just tear it up and win and be spectacular.
He should.
And then he's going to tear that ass up when he goes back in the truck. Yes, that's what he's going to do. And he'll make a name for himself. That's Joe Nemechek's kid, and then he will come back up.
Yeah.
Wow. NASCAR Cup champion Chase Elliott announced last night that he was going to race a midget car at the world-famous Chili Bowl. Chili Bowl Nationals at the Tulsa Expo Raceway on January 11 through 16, 2021. Big, tell me about the Chili Bowl.
Man, we need Bart up here for that, man. Let me tell you, Bart's been quite a few times. I have an uncle and a great uncle that all go. My great uncle King, my uncle Brad, Dad. They've all been numerous times. I never got I had the opportunity to go, never pounced on it, and I should have. What an amazing event. I mean, this is an indoor midget car, sprint car, dirt track racing over a week-long deal. I mean, racing from sun up to gates close every day for like 5 to 7 days.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. The only thing I have to say to that is Kyle Larson racing in it? Because if Kyle Larson is going to race in it, I hate it. I am a Chase Elliott fan, but you got to take Kyle Larson. But if I had a second pick, I got to take Elliott. I'm going to roll with Elliott as long as Larson's not in it. If Larson's in it, I got to go with Larson, man. That's just how that goes. I mean, a statistic I got sent earlier by some family of mine. Larson, in his time off from NASCAR, being suspended and all that, raced in 84 dirt track races and won 42 of those. He was batting 500, man. A 1 and 2 every 2 races was a win. He's phenomenal. I'll call it right now, like I think I said last week. If they turn Bristol into dirt this year, Kyle Larson. Period.
He's hell on dirt.
It's already done. You might as well give him a trophy.
Our beer drinking brother from another mother, Clint Boyer, was a proud father this weekend.
Yeah.
His 7-year-old son Cash won his first go-kart race. The elder Boyer said that Cash asked him the other day how to shotgun a beer. A 7-year-old said how to shotgun a beer.
I like his style.
He said he wanted to know that in case a girl asked him to do it. That's smart. I love that. How do you shotgun a bro? The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Well, all I can say about that is, Clint, you bring your family down here to Coach's Corner, and we'll all shotgun beers together. Jimmy Johnson closes out his career by earning the Bill France Excellence Award. By the way, Bill France started NASCAR. One of the sport's highest honors. This award is not given out annually, and it recognizes those who have made a massive impact on NASCAR. And boy, didn't he?
Oh yeah, I mean, like I said, he's done things never be repeated ever again. knock on wood, I say ever again. Now, it is a possibility, but I mean, 5 championships in a row, 7 total. It's only been done 2 other times.
Right.
I mean, just the way he carried himself, the character he was, the things he did for the sport. I mean, the things he does for himself, I look at is like, you know, the dedication to whatever he does. All right, I'm a race car driver. I want to be the best that I can possibly be.
Right.
I'm a triathlete. I want to be the best triathlete I can possibly be. I mean, the stuff that this man did on and off the track during race weekends, you know, running marathons and doing triathlons and stuff with charity, and just the things that he did and the way he kind of guided the sport through the 2000s. I mean, honestly,
right.
The mid and later 2000s, those are Jimmy Johnson year, period. I mean, he ran the sport forever.
First it was Jeff Gordon, and then
correct.
it was Jimmy Johnson.
It's very funny how there's generational guys, and sometimes generations cross for a few years, but it's very funny how there's generational guys that just come in and change the sport.
Right.
And that's what I say about
your
guy
guy
right here.
It's
a generational guy. These are things that do not happen very often, and when they do, it's a big deal, man. So
we're going to talk a little NASCAR history. And actually, if we're going to start out with this most immediate last season, what was your favorite race of the year?
I don't know. It's tough for me because there's quite a few. I mean, the first Bristol race was amazing. The All-Star race at Bristol was amazing. The other race at Bristol was amazing. I mean, we had all these 3 Bristol races you can go. That's one of my favorite races. I mean, Talladega, the stuff that went down there, the way the year started during the 500. I mean, it's just, there's so many. But, I mean, if we're going to take one, I've got to roll with the All-Star race at Bristol just for the simple fact, again, great racing, awesome format. Think it's the best place that NASCAR can possibly put the All-Star race when there's no points, no holds bar, $1 million cold cash. Run it. You know what I mean? Just go out there and run it. You're not hurting feelings. You're not worried about roughing guys up. You're worried about going and getting that cash. And Chase Elliott, to come and get that, I mean, I got to go with that as my favorite.
So the championship, winning the championship.
Oh, yeah.
My favorite race, and this may or may not, because I've had a bunch of races where I started out kind of laid back, sitting on my couch, and as we come down to the end, I stand up, and I start moving up towards the television, and it's going, and it's going, and it's closer and closer, and then you're jumping up and down, and you're going, go, 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 go! And then you have a winner. Those are great races, and we've had a bunch of those this year.
Yeah, we have.
But my favorite race was when we got back to racing at Darlington.
Yeah, first one back.
The first one back when it was human beings in race cars. And I know it was weird. You know, I know it was weird with nobody there, but it was us saying coronavirus will not beat us forever.
Yeah.
We got back in the car and we ran a race. And man, I'm proud of NASCAR for doing that. That was my favorite race. What's your favorite race memory?
Oh man, I've got some good ones, man. I mean, I've been to, so many Atlanta races. Kansas City. Man, I tell you what. One of the funniest stories, man, that I remember being a kid, being at Atlanta, and at first it started as a guys trip. You got to understand, there was no women. It was just guys, and what it eventually turned into was like a whole family deal for me. I mean, I'm not lying when I say my grandma was at a NASCAR, at NASCAR every year. So uncles, cousins, grandma. I mean, it was you don't get much more than that. But one of my favorite moments is back when I first started going, a camera tower used to be right where our motorhomes are now, which it's turn 1 and 2 right in the center. It used to be 3 and 4 coming to the finish.
Yeah.
So in the morning, obviously my dad's brother, my Uncle Bobby would be there. Guys that come out as cold. It was in November, last race of the year. This was the championship race for a long time.
Right.
I mean, freezing cold in Atlanta in November, right?
Right.
So you go, and the guy come out every morning, hey, you need something, breakfast, coffee, this, that, and hook him up with a little, Jim Beam and some coffee in the morning. And he's like, man, I'll put you guys on, commercial break. So I get all excited, I'm running around. I'm like 8 years old. I'm like, oh man, I got, doing this, getting poster board, like markers, drawing a sign. I'm in the motorhome and just total space out. I poke my head out. Everybody's on the top, and I'm like trying to get my dad's attention. I finally get my dad's attention. I said, hey man, how you spell ESPN? True story. I didn't live that down for a very, very long time. But yeah, it's probably one of my best moments at the racetrack. Like, I mean, honestly, I mean, I could go into other details of like the 20s, you know, the early 20s, and but best moment at the racetrack is probably that, man. I mean, it just that was a good time. It was a family thing for me. I mean, honestly, just I mean, it was my grandma, my great uncle, my cousins, my mom, my dad. I mean, we used to have a huge group of us that went every single year, both races, never miss it. I still don't miss it. Other than this year, the Rona got me. I couldn't go. Hopefully, 21 season better be different because I'm going to be there, I'm telling you. But yeah, man, that's probably tops all best memory I got.
My favorite NASCAR, and I don't have near as many as you have, but I have to say that my favorite one was I was working as a medevac guy up in Columbia, South Carolina, and we had the contract to put the helicopter at Darlington, 2004, 2005, several years. And so NASCAR's got a requirement and this requirement is from NASCAR onto a track.
Right.
When you have cars going around that track, there has to be a helicopter sitting there, manned, fully staffed, ready to go. Now, of course, if weather prevents a flight, you can't do anything about that. But the helicopter has to be there. And I'm working up in Columbia, and my chief flight nurse sent the helicopter on a call instead of leaving it at Darlington all night. So the way my thinking is, if you tell me that I've got to have a helicopter at this place for the next 4 days, I'm just going to put it there and leave it there.
Right.
Well, smarter people than me said, no, we're going to go make money with it at night when NASCAR is not going to use it. Right. So it went down to Augusta, Georgia. And what happens in Augusta, Georgia, because there's a river there, it fogs in and they get stuck. So I go to work the next morning, it's like, we got a problem. The helicopter's in Augusta and there's a race today at Darlington. So I got in my damn personal car, and I drove my happy little ass down to Augusta, Georgia, gave that car to the crew that was there on duty, got by myself into that Bell 230 helicopter and flew that sucker IFR, single pilot, in the clouds to Darlington, shot an instrument approach, broke out of the clouds. There's the racetrack right there in front of me, and made it on time.
Hey,
yeah, baby. I was like,
I'm talking about.
Come out of the clouds. Woo! There's a racetrack right there. How about that right there? That's my favorite memory. And oh my God, that was fun. All right, mailbag question. What was y'all's favorite rubbin' and grubbin' show this year? My God,
there's quite a few I don't really remember too good. It's a little fuzzy out there if you ask me. I mean, honestly, but I don't know, man. I mean,
the show with Damon on it.
Oh yeah, hey, there it is.
When we had the treetop toe, wall-to-wall United States Marine.
Official bodyguard of rubbing and grubbing,
telling us when the Marines did the American flag a day.
That was a good one.
That was a great one.
Man, every week I won, it's probably got it. Like Coach said, got to be one of my favorites. I mean, come on, man. I mean, LB, you got two.
Let's hear it. Okay, Brandon never gets drunk. It's a July show.
July show.
When we were in our cups, so to speak.
Yeah.
Oh, when I was in my cups, so to speak.
Yeah.
By the way, let's just think about something else for a second. We have in the house right now Coach Carl DeMasi for the Coach Carl DeMasi Sports Report with the Athletic Director, Chad Griffin.
Yes,
they're there in the house. And as soon as we shut up and get off of here, they're going to be here. So don't go away. Stay tuned to the Coach's Corner page. Listen, they are the center of the Coach's Corner sports universe. Wow. All right, so I want to send a shout out now. There's a universe of information on YouTube. And as I've been learning about NASCAR this year, I've loved Slap Shoes videos, NASCAR Man, NASCAR Asm, NASCAR Sasm, whatever. There's NASCAR history. Listen, if you're one of those guys that makes those videos, thank you so much. I love it. I watch it. But I got to give a props to this dude right here, Jayski. By the way, Jayski is a subscriber. He watches our stuff. So, sir, thank you very much.
Like it.
And thank you so much, because I'm trying to keep up with cars and drivers and teams. And it turns out, if you go to the Jayski site, you can print out the encyclopedia. It's all there. All the teams, the whole 9 yards.
Right.
It is spectacular. Mr. Jayski, I assume that you're a mister. You may not be. I don't know. So we talked about I said, we're going to just go over some teams. So we went, I think, through the first 3 teams. One, Chip Ganassi Racing and Kurt Busch. We did Team Penske Ford. All the 2s are Penske. That was BK, Brad Keselowski. 3 was Austin Dillon. And did we talk about 4? Stuart Haas Racing.
No.
Stuart Haas Racing, the guy who dominated the season, Kevin Harvick.
I mean, that's the closer, man. You know, what's interesting about him is, you know, you lost one of the greats that was in the sport.
Yes.
And you gained another great that's still in the sport through Kevin Harvick.
Right.
It took him quite a long time to really start showing how good of a race car driver he was. Everybody knew he had talent in the Busch Series at the time.
Right.
He comes in to the 4 car at Stuart Haas, and that's really when he starts to shine, man. I mean, a NASCAR champion, he's in the hunt like it seems like almost every single year, man.
Yes.
You know, his wife and him owned Busch Series teams for a long time. They owned a truck for a while. Just a great race car driver, man. He's in his early 40s, still doing his thing. He was this close this year. Had the most wins in the series, but just didn't quite get those points and get those finishes when he needed it to make the championship 4.
Yes.
But, I mean, dominant force in the sport. You're going to see him be consistent until he gets out of that seat. He's going to be somebody that's prime time every single year, man.
So NASCAR, thank you, sir. NASCAR actually has got a compilation by car number of the most productive, most successful drivers.
Yeah.
And I, of course, thought that in the number 4 car, it would be Kevin Harvick. But like, hey, I'm learning history, right? The number 4 car, the number 1 driver of wins by NASCAR was a gentleman by the name of Rex White. He smoked it in the 4 car. And then Harvick is right behind him, and Sterling Marlin is the next step down, and then Ernie Irvin is the next stop down.
Yep.
All right, and it's time for food. Hey, this show is called Rubbin' and Grubbin'. Rubbin' is racing.
Grubbin' is tasting.
And we are fixing to grub on a Coach's Corner specialty with our lovely, here's your beer, sir.
Oh, thank you, ma'am.
With our lovely assistant and model, Miss Karen. Thank you so much. So look, believe it or not, winter is going to actually come here. It's not cold outside now. It's great outside, but it will get cold. And when it gets cold, there ain't nothing like a little Coach's Corner chili. And this is relatively inexpensive. We've always got it here.
Yep.
It is spectacular. It makes you feel good inside and outside. It's great. I've had it. I'm going to put a little bit of Tabasco on it. And we're going to dig into that as soon as we get away from here and let the coach come up.
That's it.
So listen, thanks guys. Stay tuned for the Coach Carl DeMasi Sports Report with Coach Carl DeMasi and the AD Chad Griffin. They do a great job. I enjoy watching their show. I learn things that I don't know about. They cover all things sports right here in our little world right here. Fans, please go to their YouTube channel and please subscribe to their show. That's on the Coach's Corner Sports Network, and you're on YouTube. Yes, on YouTube
as well.
Also, we have a Hot Grits podcast on iTunes and Spotify, and these Travis and Spencer are young and they're sharp and they're funny. They break down the week in sports, so check that out. Don't forget to come back here next Wednesday because we're going to talk about everything NASCAR. Take us home.
That's it. Hey, everybody out there, like you say, like, share, follow us all the time. Coach Carl, we got the AD Chad Griffin coming up. Stay tuned. Tune in for that show. Going to get you up to date on everything local, sport-wise, on the football program. They're on the hunt. I'm telling you right now, you got to stay tuned. Check that show out. Big shout out to John and Dale Henderson again for always allowing us to have such a good time up here, rubbing and grubbing. Got to love that. I mean, hey, if you hadn't been up here, come up here, man. Check coaches out. Such a great environment, great time. You got time. Monkey Man out back tonight. Everybody have a great Thanksgiving. Love, send love out there to the loved ones you can't be with because of this thing that's going on. Hey, until then, mask up, wash your hands, y'all.